Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining me now is Paul Rosales from RE/MAX Realty Professionals, and we've been having an ongoing series about getting your house ready to sell. You can tell me where we left off and where we're picking up today.
We've already covered getting the interior and the exterior. Basically, the first impressions of the house are your exterior, the first impressions of the rest of the house, which is the interior. We've talked about how to get your house ready to be presentable, so it puts its best foot forward. There's a number of things that factor into selling a house. There's the condition of the house, which we've addressed in the previous two segments. There's the marketing, which whoever's been watching this knows how extensive the marketing is that I do. There's also location. Obviously not going to pick the house up and move it. So that leaves...
Although that's been done.
It has been done. It's very rare and it's not cheap. So that leaves us with pricing. You've already gone through all the effort to get the house up and beautiful, both interior and exterior. No location's going to change. My marketing's going to be better than any other marketing out there. So the price is where we need to focus. A lot of people will want to put their house for what they think the max they can get for it. You know, they think the house next door is just like mine, but I've got this, I've got that, so I'm going to price it $15,000 higher. When really you may only have about $5,000 worth of improvements. The days of people being able to get more than their house is actually worth are long gone, for a couple of reasons. People lately have been given the reality of what real estate is capable of doing. It's not an endless ability to increase the equity in your house. Fortunately, here in Kansas, we haven't seen decreases in house prices. Unless you live in an economically depressed area, maybe like a ghetto or something like that, then you're going to see that. But for the average house, they increase in price. Not as much as they did, say, 5 years ago, but they're still increasing in price. Interestingly, the last statistics that I heard are about 1/3 of all houses that go on the market do not sell during their first listing. They sit there for 6 months. Nobody buys the house. The main reasons, what I've covered: poor marketing by the agent, location, condition, or overpricing. Since we've already addressed, and hopefully whoever's going to list their house based on my advice has gotten the house ready. If you're up at the top third of the market on a house in price, you're not going to sell. Primarily those houses are overpriced. The market's not going to want them. The people out there buying are not going to want them, just like a person who lists their house is not going to want to take the highest priced house out of a set of homes that are virtually identical. Why pay more when you can pay less? The sellers of the house, when they go buy another house, are going to go through the same thought process as the people who are potential buyers for theirs. Why should a potential buyer's thought process be anything different than the thought process of the people trying to sell the house? What you're going to do to other people on buying a home, they're going to do to you. They're going to try and get the right house priced properly for them. If you sit there for 6 months and you go into a second listing, you might be there for 300 days. One of the first questions anybody asks me when I'm walking them through a house: how long has it been on the market? What's the price? How long has it been on the market? If we walk through the house and it's in good condition and it's a right area where they want to live, we've got all that taken care of. Obviously, the agent's marketing was sufficient enough to get us in the house. That really just leaves price. If they're thinking, well, you know, I just looked at the other house, and that house is the same size, same number of bedrooms, but it's priced $5,000 less, I can't see why I would pay $5,000 more. So essentially, if you want a quick sale, you need to price your house according to the bottom third of the prices out there, your competition on the market. If not, you're not going to sell real quick. You may be out there for 5, 6, 7 months, and you may have to get into another listing agreement, and that's not something most people want to do. They want it done the first time out. We as agents want it done the first time out because we don't want to have to sit there at the end of 6 months and tell you, we need to come down in price.
Right, and don't you think that it negatively affects people's perception when they go up to a house where it's on the sign, price reduced? Don't people start thinking, well, what's wrong with the house?
And that's exactly what happens. People say, oh, they dropped the price. They came down $10,000. They'll come down more. You dropping the price psychologically gives the buyers a feeling of, let's ding them again.
Yeah.
What I would rather do is when I sit down with people, I do an in-depth market analysis. We look at the houses on the market and what we're going to be competing against as if the house is on the market right then and there. I also have a set of what's sold in the last 2 years because that's primarily the information that's going to be used by the appraiser. You can't overprice the house because the person I just mentioned, the appraiser, is going to use the numbers that I've already prepared. They may have additional numbers that make it even harder. So they're going to sit there, and if you're priced at 10% above whatever they can justify, they're not going to let you sell that house at the price you want. If you have it priced at $210,000 and really the house is only a $190,000 house and the previous sold comps say $190,000, the appraisers are self-regulating right now because they don't want the federal government to come in and start running their industry. They're being very conservative. They're not giving you that extra $15,000. Whatever the market says your house is worth based on the previous 2 years of sales, that's what they're going to do. One of the worst things that can happen is you get into a contract, 2 weeks later after the contract is done, the appraisal comes in and you see that $15,000 difference. That appraisal will stick to that house for at least half a year. So anybody else who comes in, if we happen to walk out of the contract, anybody else who comes in, that appraiser who's going to appraise for them will see that appraisal and will have a real hard time justifying the extra $15,000. Price your house right, defend the price, get the house sold quickly. Don't be on the market for 9 months.
And your real estate broker can help you price the house?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Paul.
Thank you.